Hello everyone! Today I would like to talk to you about Wuthering Heights! I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I still don't feel like I have a good grip on all the things I want to say about this book, so let's just see how it goes. Now there will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't read Wuthering Heights, stop watching right now, go read the book, and then come back and watch the rest of the video. You have been warned. When I started reading Wuthering Heights, I had assumed that I would be getting Cathy's perspective, that she would be the narrator. Because the way people talk about it, make me assume that it would be set up in a similar way that Jane Eyre is. But it's not. It's actually filtered through two different narrators, Mr. Lockwood and Nellie Dean. Now, Mr. Lockwood is kind of a fool, and Nellie Dean is very powerless and very judgy. I think that is kind of the only power she has, so I'm not sure how trustworthy both of these are as narrators. We are getting only their point of view. We don't know how Cathy actually feels about herself, other than what she has been willing to share with Nellie Dean. And we don't get Heathcliff's inner narratives either. All of that makes me think about Cathy's experience. There's this scene in which she is discussing with Nellie Dean about thinking she's gonna say yes to Linton's marriage proposal, and how she feels about Heathcliff and how she feels about Linton. And I've noticed that people tend to take Nellie Dean's judgment of that as fact, that she was shallow and foolish to marry someone who's not the person she truly loves. But I kind of feel like she's actually pretty honest about the way she views both of these men, and how she knows that the way she loves them is different. And actually they all live in a very narrow world. It's not as Cathy has a lot of options. It's only Wuthering Heights and the Grange. Yeah, there is a village nearby, but as far as I can tell, the only person who lives in it is the doctor. And I feel that I can't really fault her for, you know, going for what is factually the better choice. I mean, she loves Heathcliff, yes, but he has nothing, and the only power she has as a woman in this situation is to choose who she marries. Cathy actually makes quite the sensible choice in marrying Linton, because he has a lot to offer, and she can exert a modicum of control over him, which I do think is important. And yet it is framed negatively, as this flighty choice this young woman makes. But why are we to assume Nellie Dean's judgment of it as facts? Because later on Nellie Dean changes her tune entirely. She's all pro-Linton, and she just wishes that Heathcliff had never come back. Cathy is not entirely senseless. Yes, she makes impulsive decisions that affect a lot of people, but it is not senseless. She actually has a very, very clear view of who Heathcliff is, for example, when she's telling Isabella later on. She absolutely has no illusions about the type of person Heathcliff is. Cathy has no illusions about who she herself is. And then of course she gets ill, and it's described as this super mysterious illness of the soul, which she withers away. But yeah, very mysterious childbirth. And it's strange to me that Cathy is framed in the same way as all the other people who die of mysterious illnesses. Because like Linton and Isabella, they are coded as people who have weak constitutions. Yet Cathy is the vibrant girl who runs around the moors with Heathcliff when she's young. She is not someone who has a poor constitution. And so then Heathcliff hasn't got the one person he actually cares about anymore. To Heathcliff, no one but Cathy and himself count as people. They don't have personhood. They're just creatures who have wronged him in some way, and avatars of those creatures. And he uses them as property. And even Hareton is not a person to him, even though Hareton reminds Heathcliff so much of Cathy. And by Hareton's own admission, they are, well, the closest he's gotten to a father-son relationship. Yet Heathcliff cannot get past that he is the son of the man who tormented him, and therefore he takes everything away from him. Then there's the second Cathy, who grows up even more isolated and in an even narrower world than her mother did. And she, like everyone else, gets used as a pawn by Heathcliff, and no one seems to have any power against him, which just makes everyone look very, very weak. Heathcliff is not that strong. He's stuck. He keeps repeating all these ideas of vengeance, and he can never really move past it. I mean, Cathy is all being a ghost on the moors. What's he doing it for? He's just going through the motions. Now, of course, I've read this book once. I might come to an entirely different conclusion the next time I read it, and I will reread it at some point, because it is a very interesting book to me and I quite like it. I would very much like to know what you thought about Wuthering Heights, if you've read it multiple times and if your reading has changed on rereads, and whether you agree with my ideas or not. Also, subscribe! Spilling hot tea on myself! No!